I'm going to give you this video for where you need to have your starting code for week 6. So take your ending code from your public repo. I don't have mine open right now. I only have my private repo open. So for you, open your public one, grab that code, and then just a couple of changes I'm going to make to this. Not a lot, but I do want to talk about one thing I would definitely change. But the one thing I didn't cover, and I'll just cover it here in case you need some help with it, and no, I'm not coding it. Honestly, there's a couple of reasons why, but there's not a lot of code here. Because what I showed you in the video was how to output the total. So I created the H2. I then updated its text content. I created an H3, right? I created some content on the H3. I created a P. Paragraph, and then I did a string plus equal here. Again, not required. I could have put it all on one line. I was just playing around to show you that you could use that prefix. Is that prefix or postfix? But it's just an operator to say take whatever was in there and add this to it. Okay, and then I appended it all. So here's the changes I would do. First, this line right here is really not efficient here. I'm going to take this, I'm going to cut it, I'm going to create a new line above it. I'm going to place that outside of the loop. Now, why am I doing that? I'm doing that because I only need to set that reference up. And if I'm doing it inside the loop, okay, inside the iteration here, you know, again, we're doing this forever for however many objects we have in that array, then we're doing that line every time, and we do not need to. And it's what we call a somewhat expensive line in JavaScript. And actually, it's the DOM updates that are more expensive, but we're still doing something we don't need to do here. Okay? So that's one thing for sure. Have that there. And then as far as the way we're running this code right now, you know, first thing we do is call start, so it's here, and then we call display. I would kind of play with the order, but I'm not going to, just because we can talk about that, especially as we go into the next part. But one thing I am going to do, and you don't have to do this, but you're going to see my code change, is in my index file. I'm going to set up a style, mostly because I'm working on the CIT85, which is HTML and CSS. And there's a very simple line that I like that the content creator I'm using for that does. And in this case, font size. So I'm saying anywhere in the HTML, make the font size 22 pixel. Okay. And then in the body, okay. This is CSS. This is what we call inline CSS. It can be put in an external file, but just for background, or just, sorry, I'm going to type just for simplicity, I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to call this, when you'll see this color in a minute, you can actually see it there as well. You could make this another color. I'm just going to do this because my eyes are getting tired of looking at this. I'll show you what I mean. So now if I go over here, notice what that does is it makes it a little easier on my eyes. I don't know about yours, but for me, you can tell me if that comes through, right? Again, you can play around with this. Again, if you want to learn a little more about, this is a very simple way, but if you want to learn some more HTML and CSS, I have a second 9-week called CIT85. I'm actually working on that class right now as well. And I know some of you are taking 82 with me, concurrent with this class, which, by the way, I don't necessarily recommend. Some of you may be feeling why, but, you know, if you have the time and focus, great. Okay, so those are the changes I would make for right now in preparation for your week 6. So what I would do here is go ahead and do your commits. As a matter of fact, I'll put that on the attendance to have you do a commit here for setup complete and ready. I'll just say setup complete. Okay, now I'll have a second video as I go over different topics, but I always like to do one just for the code. All right.